Baba, I have a question about imagination. You,
Yes,
you've often said that uh, imagination is no ordinary power. And based on what I've heard you say in the past, I've taken that to mean that imagination is actually the kind of the creative power or the creative energy of consciousness that manifests, allows it to manifest into thought and form and phenomena. So, could you talk a little bit about imagination and its relationship to creativity and consciousness and mind?
you see, mind means consciousness has the power to imagine, to create. I have always definitely told this is not an ordinary quality because when we try to deal with imaginations, we need to get rid of the imaginations, and it has the power to imagine means it might appear as a very ordinary, oh, is that all imagination? But when we see this world, see the imagination or the creative power of the consciousness, of a higher consciousness, more than higher potency of our mind. Say if our mind's potency is 10, and imagine the power of the potency of creative power of the bigger consciousness, how powerful it would be, maybe in thousands. So, like that, depending on the concentration power of the consciousness, the power of creativity also increases. That's how sometimes I tell when you practice meditation, you can live like a genius in this world. Means your focusing power, paying attention, or applying the mind, using the mind, applying the brain, and the best concentrated mind can be applied, you can be best creative power you can have. So depending on the power potency of the mind, when it creates, if you simply imagine, a picture might appear within your mind. But say, for example, you fall in love with Baba, considering him as a guru, as a divine figure in your imagination, and then Baba's figure might start appearing within your mind. The more that you have fallen in love naturally, it would slowly, the strength of the picture will grow more solid and solid and solid. So one day you might even be able to see in front of you a manifested personality of Baba. Also, in his Master's Grace book, explaining my tapas things, I've explained about this imagination, mental projection, and manifestation. These are the three stages of the power of creativity of the consciousness I have explained. So, when you imagine a particular thing and repeatedly keep imagining the same thing, the same picture resolved starts appearing within your mind and it becomes more and more solid. And if you practice meditation more deeply, when you reach a certain stage, you will see like a mental projection. So, when you see that projection at that time, you cannot even make out that you have been imagining and you have projected, and that's why it appeared. It might appear. So, many saintly personalities have explained as if they saw the divine God or the Guru coming and talking and eating with them. So the power has increased. And we call the third one as the manifested power. Manifestation means it will be as powerful, as physical as this world that appears to you in front of you. Like a person might appear if you resolve a divine figure and meditate on that divine figure, that personality might appear before you. So that's of faith. And when you do tapas, in our scriptures it is also said that when you do tapas, God will have to bless you. Guru will have to bless you. And if you resolve to see the divine in a form, the divine will have to manifest and appear before you. So such is the power. It's a very wide subject. It can grow and grow. Imagine the power of the creation. Say that's what is explained in scriptures. So in the beginning, the all-pervaded, omnipresent divinity itself did not create, but an enormous amount of consciousness arose, and when it imagined with all concentration, creation started happening. But that consciousness remained in self-realization, did not get involved into the creation. That's why they are called as divine trinities like Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva in Indian culture, philosophy that has been explained. But after that, the Devatas, angels, have shown corrupted mind, fear, jealousy, wanting power. So incarnation after incarnation, mind got corrupted, it became mind, so its potency also became very less. Another thing I have explained is something is happening to you in this world which we recognize it as destiny. You are destined to undergo all these things. So, if your mind is of 10% potency, when this mind was with its 100,000 potency, consciousness, whatever it would have imagined, resolved, that means created, would have become the destiny of the personality that you are in this life. Like you came in contact with a self-realized yogi, you have met, so you were destined to meet. Probably in your previous lives, you would have been thinking or picturizing or visualizing. So thus I have told, if you are more positive in your thinking and visualizing, you can shape a better positive destiny for yourself. If you are negative, you might be shaping a negative destiny for yourself. So mental resolutions are very important. So spiritually, finally it's advised, if you can achieve total silence of the mind, you will get rid of everything. But if at all you have to think always positively and think of the divinity, think of the one single self that exists as ultimate truth. So that is what we have tried to teach based on our experience.
So, Baba, silencing the mind is the way to purify the mind and regain that 100,000
Yes.
consciousness.
And from the 100,000, you merge with the self, final.
Okay. One more quick question. You use the term consciousness of existence. Of all the things in your mind, there's one thing that's not a thought, is your consciousness of existence. Would the conscious presence be the same as the consciousness of existence, conscious presence?
Yes, both are same. I have simply used the term consciousness of existence just to say you feel that you exist. So it is the same as consciousness, existence.
So when all the thoughts stop, that you're conscious of existing, but not as a thought.
Yes, yes. No more thought is there. That a thought means, in my criteria, an imagination, an imagined thing. Whereas this consciousness is not an imagined thing, it is there always.
So that's why, from a yogi's perspective, when they say all the samsara, all the manifest existence is just an imagination, that it's really just the creative projection of consciousness, and it's because it's temporary and finite.
Yes, yes. If this world is the created technique of the higher consciousness, always in the creation, one scientific truth is that only a higher power can move the one that is lesser than that. Means if you need to move anything, change anything, a power that is higher than that only can do. Now, if we see this universe is limited, no matter how big it is, a planet, so many planets, solar systems, Milky Ways, and everything can be galaxies after galaxies, but the space is much higher, much bigger than, much vast and unending, boundless. So, thus, the power of the space is much bigger than this universe. So, that is how we consider it is that supreme consciousness which is all pervaded as created by imagining.
Thank you, Baba.
Hi, Baba. It's so good to see you. I'm so happy to be here. I've been thinking about this thought from India, this idea from India that we're not human beings having an occasional divine experience. We are divine beings having a human experience. So I've been thinking a lot about that, and I've been thinking about the idea of being a human being, and the complexity of the opposites. So as a human being, every time I try to do something that is good or right, etc., there is going to naturally be an opposite that's going to appear somewhere in my life, because that's the nature of being human, where the divine doesn't have that duality. So my question is, as I've been contemplating this and trying to understand the difference of being, just simply being, and trying to be, like being where I am, being present, and then trying to be a good disciple, trying to be a good meditator, trying to be a good person, rather than being and listening to that divine being and the guru, and following and trusting that. Does that mean?
I think I understand. Pay attention keenly.
Okay.
In our teachings, also, in the beginnings, many times I have said, you are much more your physical body, the birth and death of the physical body, and you are much more than that. So that was when I have tried to tell, you are not simply this physical body, but beyond. Now, this physical body is the one which is recognized as a human body, human being. So, when you consider yourself as the dweller in this human body, or as a human body, whatever it is, so then you come to be known as a human. So then all the qualities of a human, that criteria people give, it all has to follow. These all things come. Now, we need to try and know what is your real self. That means, what is you as a real being? Is this physical body? Like as a child, I used to think, am I born with this physical body? Am I going to become extinct with the death of this physical body? Or am I going to exist in some other form, as some other entity? So that's what the being. The ancient sages taught. So being means here, when you need to reach that status of your real self, you have to get rid of all imaginations of the mind. That's what we teach. Mind is consciousness and energy, and it is not any part of this body, not an organ of this physical body. It is infinite spirit form. Like I have told, you cannot show your mind to anybody of what is its form, what is its color. Nobody has seen it in naked eyes. Can you show it? Okay, this is my mind and this is the shape of the mind. Yet you do recognize that you have a mind. Like my mind thinks like this, my mind wants to go there. And also in that process, sometimes you tell, I want to go there, I think like this. So when you practice meditation in advanced stages, you will realize that this mind and you are same. There is really no difference for the consciousness of existence, what I talk within your mind. I talk amongst millions of thoughts that are in your mind. One thing which is not a thought is the consciousness of your existence. That means that is not an imagination, it is a reality. Whereas all other thoughts, millions of thoughts that are in your mind are simply an imagination, an imagined thing which does not have any existence value. It is impermanent. It is there, it might disappear. Like when you practice meditation, if you just follow the instructions we have been repeatedly giving in every meditation session of just what, then you will see the wonder that you can get rid of all thoughts, they can disappear. All visions can disappear. Nothing will appear. You don't have anything to see. That doesn't mean that you will lose the eyes. Eyes or physical eyes are different. Inner eyes, in the mind, that which you are seeing, nothing but one thing will always be there, consciousness of your existence, the feeling that you exist. That is what the spirit form, that's what that means, being that. Being that means when you become totally thoughtlessness you achieve in your mind, you become that, you become aware of that. When you reach the awareness of that, you will realize it is just being, not thinking about. There is nothing to think, nothing to define. You cannot define that this is it, it is the shape is like this, its name is like this, nothing. That's what the being word has been used here. I hope a little bit you have understood.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Baba.
So nice to see you. I have a question about meditation. When we focus, as you say, just the laser focus and just watch, uh, and at that time, momentarily, when there are no thoughts, then there is this experience of bliss and it's recognized. But at the same time, that the mind sort of detaches or it just goes off, and then it seems like a tug of war trying to get the mind back, and the mind is pulling there. But there are two experiences. One is the experience of the mind having run off, and at the same time there is this experience of bliss. So there are two things happening, and can you please throw some light on this? And the other question was, does one bring that mind back forcefully and focus, or just talk to it gently? Sometimes you don't even realize the mind is gone, and then suddenly you realize, oh my gosh, it's not there, but you're also enjoying the bliss at the same time. So there's this duality.
Here, you see, now one important point, you think that the mind is gone off, but actually mind has not gone off. If you are experiencing some bliss, that means that mind is there, but it is not in the form of mind. It would have reached, a glimpse might be obtained as the consciousness of existence. Existence, I am talking because you are experiencing the bliss. You are the one who is experiencing bliss, and you are that which was in the form of the mind earlier because of tens and thousands of thoughts that were there. Momentarily, it appears to have gone up, and suddenly you are likely to keep wondering, where did the mind go? You want that mind, otherwise you might get panicked sometimes. What will happen to me? What's going to happen? nothing to be worried. It is there. It is there as the pure consciousness. You cannot make it disappear, or you cannot make it go anywhere. That's how the self has been determined as the eternal existence. You are always there. Nothing has happened to you. You are experiencing the bliss. If the mind has been very active, you won't be able to experience the bliss. You will experience the stress of the mind. So now there is no stress, and bliss has come. So let it continue. You pray to your Guru that it must continue. You don't bother about the mind. Mind has not gone. You will be able to use the mind when you become active in your day-to-day life. Then you can apply your brain also. That power will automatically come back. As you try to think, it will come.
Okay, I think I'm next. Namaste, Babaji. Thank you so much for this. I have a bit of a, this is a follow-up to Augustia's question on manifestation from imagination and that powerful state of manifestation. I have a bit of a weird, strange, funny story that I always thought it was one thing, but now after you said that, I'm wondering if it's completely just a manifestation that I brought through. So just the background, my father passed about 3 years ago, and I was very, very upset for a long time that I wasn't there when he passed. So I was blaming people, and people didn't tell me what was going on, and I didn't, go back. So the anniversary, this was last year, so this is 2 years after he died, the anniversary of his death was drawing near, and I started to rehash it yet again, and I was upset, and I was blaming people. And I manifested a man on my doorstep who looked exactly like my father, with a different jawline, and he didn't have a British accent. But it was 2 years to the day and hour from the last time I saw my father alive. So all this time, I thought it was a gift from the divine for my healing. And now what you just said makes me wonder if I was just so, upset about that situation that I manifested that whole thing. I don't know what to think about it.
You see, one thing, the same experience, if you want to consider as a divine's gift to help you to overcome the that you were missing your father or the unhappiness that was coming, so that can be considered. So this is here, in other scientifically, your own mind has found a way to heal itself. So that source is the divinity from within you that has helped you. So that is the technology and science that has happened. Though it is manifestation, but it is helpful to heal you. So you still can continue. You don't have to simply start thinking it was nothing. So this comes in the devotional path, Bhakti Marga. This has been taught. The divine, you're remembering the divine, and the manifestation, mental projection as if the divine coming to you, the Guru helping you, all these things, they have its own meaning. It is all very powerful. We were also discussing this manifestation or creativity of the consciousness is not ordinary things. They are immensely powerful. Like the higher consciousness that has created this universe, in which your body also is a part of it. Nobody can change this like with a wave of the hands. Destinies cannot be changed. Human beings come and they claim to be divine figures, these, that powers. But nobody can change like this. You have to put an effort. So that is the truth actually. But if anything is healing you, if you are positive, that's no harm. Eventually you will grow up when you practice more and more meditation. So you will heal once for all. When you practice meditation and realize yourself. So just like by realizing the self, I have healed myself once for all from every calamities of the consciousness. This will be possible for all of you also.
Thank you, Babaji. Thank you so much.
Namaste, Baba. When we talk about concentrating the mind or focusing the mind, I'm trying to understand what that is. And the reason it's a little bit confusing is existence itself does not have any shape or form. It can't be compressed or concentrated. It doesn't appear. So when we say concentrated or the mind, are we really talking, someone use an example, a camera catches light into its lens, into its chamber, and then the lenses are twisted in one way or another to change the image bigger or smaller or whatever. So when we say concentrate the mind, are we really concentrating? Do we really mean we're changing the aperture of receiving the consciousness itself? It's not, we use so freely concentrate the mind, but what's actually being concentrated?
Yeah, it's a very good question. Generally, a person is tend to think like an object is there and you have to compress and concentrate, make it become more strong and strong. But here it's not like that, because this is the spirit form, infinite. Within the infinite, a small portion had started spinning within itself and got involved into the creation. Incarnation after incarnation has happened. Now, when we talk of concentration, bringing it back into single pointedness, all these things, the same spinning consciousness which is recognized as mind, we need to stop the spinning, and then that spinning has to become concentrated, concentrated, concentrated. One day, then it bursts and becomes one with the all pervadedness. But no form will appear, no definition will appear. It is within itself, it happens, and that is only to be experienced to believe. There is no clue or no language, no explanation. The more I try to explain, people might get more confused, or something coming, concentrating, and then getting. You just imagine it is the air, it is the space that which needs to be compressed and become concentrated, so that it loses its form and it disappears, becoming one with the space. So that is what the nearest clue just now I am able to give you all. That's when the merger of the individual imagined self will happen with the real self. That's what the self-realization a yogi experiences. This, when samadhi happens, you will be better able to understand. Or at that time, if I explain to you more, then you will be able to understand. Just now take this much explanation and be satisfied.
So when we say the mind is concentrating, what we're really doing is we're stopping the spinning. Concentration and stopping the spinning are all both the same. And when the mind comes completely to a stop, that's the highest form of concentration. There is no form there. The form has completely disappeared.
Yeah, we are trying to stop the spinning of the mind, due to which it has got involved into creation of its own imagination, imagination, and imagination. That's what we are trying to stop.
So concentration is, we don't want to use it in the context of compressing something like into something big into something more dense or whatever. It's more.
We are just trying to get rid of the imagination.
Thank you.
Yes, Baba, it's been my real pleasure to attend your sessions for the last several months. It's been a really wonderful turn of events in my life. I have a question here that's really related to what Agastya was also asking, as his question was very potent and caused a lot of thought. And this is that the matter of shakti, or energy, which is transmitted. And we keep talking about space, about enlightenment, about imagination. And I think many of us here, or most of us, probably all of us, have experienced certain shakti from a saint, or from a temple image, from from an idea, from a book, from something. And my question really is regarding imagination. I'm thinking about Ekalavya and the image of Dronacharya, able to replicate that and to achieve what he did. And if a person, first of all, how does this energy transmission, this shakti, come about if in fact space is Vyapti or eternal, all-pervasive? What is it and how can it be directed from one individual to another place, and can the individual then imagine that for their own experience in later periods? That's the short question.
You see, when a person becomes self-realized, means his individual self, that mind, has merged with the self. This self, what we talk is made up of supreme consciousness and supreme energy. They both are inseparable. Even the mind also, to begin with, when we talk, mind is made up of consciousness and energy. Both are inseparable. So when this mind merges with the self, a yogi becomes one with the supreme consciousness and supreme energy. When merger with that has happened, so the vibrations are flowing in all directions of a yogi, of a guru. When another person develops faith naturally, so through that faith, his consciousness, his mind becomes receptive, and then this transmission happens automatically. But a yogi does not resolve that my energy must go only to this person, not to this person. We just teach faith. When you have faith, you will become receptive and you will receive. Like you are talking of Ekalavya and Dronacharya. Ekalavya, when he was watching Dronacharya, he became naturally, he fell in love with the master. But when he requested, master refused to teach him. So Ekalavya came, but he did not become dejected or he did not get annoyed with the master. Instead, he became more devoted, just made an idol of the master, and then standing in front of that one, he considered that to be the master Dronacharya and went on practicing, and because of his faith, his consciousness got connected to Dronacharya's energies, and then he learned. Then even Arjuna was no match for Ekalavya. That's what in the story comes. Because of his faith, he could achieve so much of, he could receive the transmission of the power from the Guru. So it is said that great Gurus have told, it is the faith in the name of Lord or Guru which can work wonders for you. My Guru also said one thing, you can lose anything in the world, but do not lose faith.
Is this then saying that not only for all spiritual or practical purposes, but in reality then Ekalavya's murti of Dronacharya was in fact Dronacharya, or was there a difference between
Yeah, for him it was Dronacharya. For Ekalavya it was Dronacharya. We have temples in Indian culture. When we went since childhood, for us it was not a stone or it was not an idol, it was the divinity that was sitting there. So when that faith develops, that manifestation also happens.
Yes, like in a prana-pratishtha in that sense.
Yes, exactly, you are right.
Okay. Thank you.
It's wonderful to see you, Babaji. Thank you so much for this extended session. My question is, I've heard it said that as you progress along, that you should be quite supple, and that you shouldn't be, you should have great flexibility. And I'm wondering if blocked energy in my channels, say, limits my flexibility, to touch my toes or do yoga postures or things like that. Is there a way that I could increase flexibility?
If you practice meditation, mentally you do become flexible, means, in other words, you will learn to adjust and manage with the things. These two are the words I have always used. All those who know how to adjust and manage, they will always be happy. Means you adjust with the things that you have and you manage with the things that you have. You adjust with the things that you get always and you manage with whatever resources you have. So like that, this also yoga shakti or anything is the way that you practice and go on, you will see that you would have become flexible. The more that you meditate, meditation is essential. Only when your mind becomes more purified as concentrated, so automatically changes will happen within you and you will become more flexible.
Is there a particular location or related, you know, like inflexibility, say to touch your toes or do stretches or things like that, that is correlated to incidents or
Physically, if you are talking physically becoming flexible, you have to practice the stretch out exercises. More and more practice, touching the toes slowly and slowly, little by little, and you have to take little bit of meals only, not very heavy meals, which are easily digestible. That is important. Along with that, practice some meditation that will give you more willpower and strength to become more flexible physically also. It will be helpful.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Hi, Baba. I read in The Crest Jewel of Discrimination, Shankara says that ignorance has no, if I understand it correctly, no beginning in time. It always existed, ignorance, but that it will have an end in time. And I've also read in some other commentaries of Shankara that if this is how I understand it, that creation comes and then there's an absorption, and I forget the term for that, and then that occurs again, and then there's an absorption, and then he made reference to a final absorption. So my question, when I think of both of these readings, is there a final absorption where everything is absorbed into the divine, never to emerge, and there's no, all beings and all the worlds are finished, and all suffering comes to an end for everything, and there's no more going out in creation. Thank you.
Yes, it will definitely happen. A seeker is always advised by a master or the self realized person not to bother about this particular point. This is another illusion, because if you start entertaining in your mind that creation after creation, it will happen, it will absorb, it will come back again, it will happen, it will come back again, and also when and how did this creation started, why did this creation started, you just assume there is nothing that exists except the self, divinity. That is the non-duality that Shankara also taught. He also talks about this deeply for the students, addressing them. He do not bother about this point, do not entertain in your mind, because if your mind spins into this truth, you will have to undergo all these, so many births and so many creations, which is not needed. You and your divine, you just go to that. That's it.
Namo Namaha Babaji. I love your simple instructions for meditation. However, for me, it's not very simple, and I was struggling, wondering, should my eyeballs turn in or should they go out? And there was lots of tension when I turned inward, so I just relaxed. And at one point, my breathing got very fast, and then I felt this overwhelming sense of love, and there was no struggling, there was no me, and there was no form. It was just this beautiful blue sky, amorphous field. And then the mind came back, or form came back. So my question is, how can I stay with that no thinking field? And what made the mind
Yeah.
come back?
Simply by practice, practice is the mantra to help you to remain in that state of no thinking. When there is no thinking, the mind becomes pure consciousness. That is what the essence of meditation we teach. So when you close the eyes, just be gently, keep watching the front portion. Do not bother whether the eyes have to go introvert, inside or outside. Eyes are physical. There is neither inside nor outside. It is the mind which has to go introvert. That is the language used. Means mind has to become quiet by giving up its imaginations. That is what has to happen. If you just keep watching, taking the help of the eyeballs steadily, without thinking what is happening, then all the thoughts will go and you will enjoy that free from the fear, and that peace will always be there. Our blessings. So it was so nice being with you all. I deeply appreciate your participation, and I must say wonderful questions came up, giving me an opportunity to convey my experience and express my opinions and whatever my Guru had taught me, and give you all advice. My love and blessings to all of you.